Oh, it's lit. We prime time. Subscribe, like, and share. Give us your feedback. Yo, I'm Manny at the plate and Kobe off a steal. Gretzky for the goal and Brady at the wheel. I'm a game changer, the Osaka of the tennis. And breaking scoreboards, Simone to the Olympics. Defense and big business, the Mayweather who way better. From the greatness of Jim Brown, I've been down. Talking sports before I was off the porch. Screaming Bo knows while Jordan was playing horse. Late 80s getting torched by the drive and the shot. 2016 got a ring off the three in the block. They eased to forgot the cardiac kids. Price and Doherty, Bell in the Indian years. This who it is. Your host DeeTrynt, yo, that's a name banger. Come in the streets and talk sports with the game changer. Yo, your host DeeTrynt, that's a name banger. Come in the streets and talk sports with the game changer. What's really good? It's a beautiful, beautiful afternoon. January 19th. It's hump day, y'all. All right, DeeTrynt, Game Changer Sports Talk, InDaStreetzSportz Sports. How y'all feeling? All right, let me get adjusted. See, that light look nice on me though, but all right. So, yesterday we wrapped about basketball. The last segment, I should say. We wrapped about basketball. Definitely go check that out. Game Changer Sports Talk, InDaStreetzSportz Sports. Right on Spotify, Google Podcasts. Definitely go check that out. Subscribe, like, follow. We also from the same entity. We did a Deeper Than Bars thing for those music heads that like that. So definitely go check that out. But we got to talk about my first love, man. The one sport that got me hooked on being involved in the rest of sports, man. And that's the football, man. That is the pigskin right there, baby. All right. Unfortunately, my Browns are no longer contending. They are at home. They are watching the playoffs on the couch like I am. Some probably training, some probably getting ready, enjoying some of their off time before they start getting into their real conditioning for next season. It's a lot of things going on. Usually around this time, right, we'll be talking about, oh, the Browns don't have this. Why they so suck? What's up with the front office? What's wrong with their coach? Why our star players don't be stars and all that? And even though it may feel like it's, very, I want to say variations, but that ain't right. Even though there's a feel that some of those things are taking place, it's not nowhere near the magnitude that we're used to. And, I'm a firm believer in that. You can make a lot of moves to cure a problem, or you can make the one significant move that cures everything, or at least cures, multiple issues at a time, to where now, you don't need to make 6 or 7 moves. You can make 2 to 3 moves, and that's just as equivalent, if not better. All right. Because, coming into the season this year, all right, I mean, they finished 8-9. But coming into the season this year, you had about 9 new defensive starters, like 12, 13 new players on that side of the ball. You was trying to figure out if your offense could maintain its continuity from last year and how they left off. Well, I guess in the playoff run year, they didn't leave off with the Chiefs on a high note. Which kind of led to some of the issues that was in this season. But nonetheless, the Browns are still in a way better place than they've been in a very long time. I could sit here and be
appreciative of the fact that I don't have to, sit here and complain about, my Browns not doing this. I can sit here and be appreciative of the Hold fact on, y'all. My bad for the feedback. My apologies. I can be appreciative of the fact that, I don't have to feel this down about my team. I can look at this team and say, we have a lot of positive things going forward for us, going for us moving forward. DeeTrynt, Game Changer Sports Talk, InDaStreetzSportz. All right. If you just now tuning in or getting here, make sure you like, subscribe, and share. You know what I'm saying? On here, I just give you my real uncut thoughts about sports and what I know and my feedback and how I look at things. You're always welcome, as a spectator or, a follower or whatever. If you want to get on here and talk your joint and give some feedback on some points or thoughts or ideas that you thought I came with, if you felt like they was incomplete, hey, listen, get on here and let me know how you feel, all right? But these Browns, they aren't bad. They're actually title contenders right now. And, most important thing is, how do we get this team from where they are right now to the top of things? How do we go from, a potential, slam dunk contender to a surefire winner? And nothing's absolute in the sports world or even in life, period. But you try to give yourself the best chance to be the most impactful or to control your own destiny. The Browns will have quite a few questions to answer. What are they going to do at quarterback? Not do they have a quarterback? And see, I need people to understand the difference in previous discussions and what's going on right now. We're not trying to figure out if the Browns have a quarterback. We're trying to figure out, should the Browns stick with the quarterback they have, or should they, is it important for, the culture change and for the building, the positive building? Is it necessary to make a change at quarterback? And if we do make this change at quarterback, what options do we have that are realistic, that doesn't require us to break up the team even further to just make this one change? So, if you're asking me, I feel like the Browns are playing it so smart right now. Half people love Baker, half the people want to see him go. If we're looking at it from a business standpoint, from a team building standpoint, if you can point at more than just a quarterback for issues going wrong, then quarterback isn't priority. All right, so we have to stick with what's priority first. Priority is maintaining capital and flexibility to make the necessary acquisitions. Whether that be cutting people to save cap money, extending people to further cap leeway, trading people, because we know we can get something back versus losing them for nothing. And you still have the occasional guy that, even though he might love the team and like playing with the guys, he may feel like he can earn money elsewhere and be more impactful in a role elsewhere. Now the thing to keep guys from making these moves is usually, the team's chances of winning it big, and also, how the leaders on the team impact the game and the roster, just the personnel, period, the locker room. As far as impactful leaders, you would have to say Joe Bitonio on the offensive line, Myles Garrett on the defensive line, John Johnson and Denzel Ward in the defensive backfield. Nick Chubb, obviously. I would say Kareem Hunt as well. These are the guys I look at when I think about, and J.C. Treader, of course. These are the guys I look at when I think about leaders on the team and reasons that people would want to stay. Now, people say, you didn't mention Baker. Well, I think Baker is too hit or miss right now to put him in a conversation with the other guys, in my opinion. There's nothing wrong with Baker's attitude. I personally like Baker's attitude. I can do whatever I feel like I'm capable of doing whenever I want to do it. Ain't no such thing as impossible with me. And I share those sentiments. So Cleveland, we need that type of quarterback. At the same token, though, I like my quarterback to be head smart as well as head strong. I need my quarterback to be, people would say cerebral. I would just say, humble enough to accept, whatever information that you get. Because even though you may not agree with some information, that does not make it invalid. All right. So Baker, while I think last year, the 2 years under Stefanski, he has earned the respect of everybody as far as a guy who is a football player. I don't know if he has earned the level of respect as a performer, and I want to specify as a performer of his position. There are certain points in the game where your quarterback just has to be smart enough to know my team needs a jolt, and I don't need the coach or nobody else in the staff to tell me what I need to do. I need to go out here and go in this huddle and tell my guys, hey, we doing this. Even if they don't understand, we doing this. And why are we doing this? Because we need to get positive momentum. We need to stay at the advantage of the opposing team. And this is, in year 5, I think Baker will get a chance to do that. Why do I think Baker will get a chance to do that? Because the Browns, like I say, the Browns have a little more needs than just a quarterback. We can argue that Baker had no reliable targets to throw to. I said we can argue. I'm not saying that's a fact. I'm saying that there's enough evidence to make it debatable. Guys underperformed. You could attribute that to inconsistencies, whether it be from the play call in the quarterback or the receiver. But one thing for sure and two things for certain. We definitely need receivers. Before we can ask any quarterback to come in here and play with this great line and this great backfield, we need to say to ourselves, these are your throwing options. Secondly, defensive tackle. Even more, the defensive tackle may be 1 and receiver may be 2, is because the guy that we were all high on, that we felt like was not going to pull the Josh Gordon, just pulled the Josh Gordon. Now, I'm down here in Florida. Once I gather more factual information on what's going on, I'll provide what I can. But for the most part, I personally think something triggered a mental something or an emotional something. It could have been a death anniversary. It could have been the loss of someone. Something triggered it. And that's just what I believe impulsive. But nonetheless, what I'm speaking on is defensive tackle Malik McDowell, the free agent acquisition we picked up last offseason. who played quite well for us this year, was very impactful, looked like a guy who could resurge his career. He got into an incident down in South Florida where, police was involved. Police officer may have been assaulted or whatnot. Like I say, I don't have enough factual information to say what is and what ain't. I'm just saying what I read and how I digested it. You know what I'm saying? Police was involved. He was indecent exposed around some kids. I didn't see nothing in the report that said the kids were in danger or and they didn't shoot him. So I'm assuming that there was some level of concern when they approached him. Maybe they knew something was off, because if he was being extra aggressive, I'm pretty sure we'd be having a different conversation about Mr. McDowell. But so, hopefully things can get resolved. That man can get some help, and if it was something that he did purposely to mess up his own life, then you get what your hand called for. But it just doesn't seem that way. Nonetheless, I'm saying all that to, just add to the point that a defensive tackle is very much needed. Now, in every offseason, Mr. Andrew Berry makes 2 key signings, and then he backs it up with the first few draft picks. All right. So in year 1 of Andrew and of Berry and Stefanski, who did they draft in year 1? Oh, signed Austin Hooper, signed Jack Conklin, drafted Jared Willis, and who was else that in the second round? Donovan Peoples was the 6th. It wasn't Jordan Elliott. He was the 3rd. Jacob Phillips, he was the 4th. Harrison Brown was a 4th. Who was the second round pick? Whatever the case. Once I remember, I'll let y'all know. But just keeping on to my point, he signed a right tackle, he signed a tight end, and then he drafted a left tackle. You come back to this prior offseason, and he signed a safety, then he signed a cornerback, and then he drafted a cornerback, and then he drafted a linebacker. So, here he's keeping some type of, okay, if I'm whatever my signing is, I had to get a draftee to support that. I think this year is a little different. I don't think they'll stick to that particular format, but something like it in principle. Because when we go to the defensive tackle, we're saying, what type of defensive tackle do we need? You have Tommy Togiai down there. You have a Jordan Elliott down there. Sheldon Day, who, was on the roster and played pretty good. You still have a Joe Jackson down there who's really an end. But you have a few bodies down there, especially if you retain them all. I know Togiai and Elliott were drafted. And Jackson and Day were definitely signed. But what about Jadeveon? Jadeveon played very well this year. All right. Quite a few tackles, 9 sacks. He played like 14 games out of 17. He wants to stay. You pay Myles Garrett 6 years, $125 million versus $25 million a year. You're going to have to pay Denzel Ward, which is probably not going to be no thing. Denzel Ward money guaranteed. I ain't trying. But what do you pay Jadeveon? What is he worth? He played this year on $10 million. So he's going to be looking something around 15. If you're asking me, and Jadeveon said, bro, you got to give me at least, I'm looking for at least $15 million a year at least. I just don't see how we don't offer him like the 4-year, $70 million deal with 30 up front. I just don't see why you don't do that. Having him alongside Myles Garrett gives you so much stability and versatility on them ends that you can kind of do whatever you want in the middle, depending on who is the glue guy in the middle of that defense, that defensive line, specifically for run stopping, because that's what your defensive tackles do. They help secure the run at the point of attack, and if you got good guys down there who can secure it at the point of attack, and you got nice linebackers, then your linebackers could play even better because they don't have big-ass offensive linemen coming to the second level to dominate them or to soak them up for the running back to hit the next level. So there's a few guys in the draft. Everybody's high on Jordan Davis. It's a guy named Neal from Texas A&M. Now, listen, I got to do a lot more research, y'all, because I've not been as active in college football as I once was before. All right. So it's only a few guys that I actually really know something about. So this ain't the time where I'm going to throw out, we got a lot of time. We got the combine coming up and everything. So all that stats and stuff will come out. But they do need a guy in the middle of that defense. They need a run-stopping defensive tackle, a big boy who can move. He don't got to be Aaron Donald. We're not asking for Aaron Donald because we don't have enough room to pay another defensive lineman like that. But we need a guy who, if he don't do nothing but stop the run, that's fine. You have enough versatility with your playmakers that you need that guy. Does that guy come out of free agency? Does that guy come out of the draft? You never know. Does he come via trade? You never know. But you need a guy to fill that role. Because if you get a guy that can do that, it's going to allow you to be a little more versatile on your line. Especially having a Togiai and an Elliott. Well, I think both of those guys are probably going to play really good next season. I think they're really going to blossom. Especially a third year. I don't suspect any coach would be let go. I advocate the special teams coach should be let go. All right. A lot of people looking at me crazy. But listen, bro. The one thing about Cleveland is we used to always keep a nice special teams. All right. We used to keep a nice special teams, bro. The fact that we got this nice team and we got weapons on there, but we don't have a special teams coach that seems to be able to get the most out of that unit, bro, that's been an issue. Mike Pfeiffer been here since before Kevin Stefanski. Y'all got to remember that. He's been here since before Kevin Stefanski. You know what I'm saying? Maybe they was cool and he, or maybe because a lot of the team messed with him, but bro, when you the new hand honcho, man, you gotta have everything under your own control. You feel me? Mike Pfeiffer was the assistant head coach, and I think a lot of that had to do with the fact of his tenure. And maybe the Haslams. Who could it be? Maybe it could have been Andrew Berry because Andrew Berry was here once before and Pfeiffer was here then too. But whatever the case, I advocate the special team coach should be, the options should be explored. Just bottom line. Somebody don't have a good eye for special teams talent or the ability to be able to coach a special teams unit up. So we need some innovation there because our punt return unit should be outstanding. It should just be outstanding. Like I say, I was saying when I got on that little tangent though, defensive tackle, it probably has shifted to the number one priority. But you could say 1A or 1B because that position and the receiver position is the number one priority. Now, when it comes to these receivers, all right, it's been reports. We all know Calvin Ridley won't out of Atlanta. And there's been reports that we could probably acquire Calvin Ridley. I would love that. Listen, in a perfect world, bro, Atlanta want Hooper back, and we could trade Hooper back to them for Calvin Ridley in the pick. that'll be raw. Calvin really a stud. So in my opinion, and a whole lot of everybody gonna hate this when I say this, but I want you to be, I gotta be realistic when I tell you, it'll cost the Browns way less to do it this way. And they could trade Kareem Hunt to Atlanta for Calvin Ridley. All right. The Browns probably could sweeten the pot, trade Kareem and Hooper, get Calvin Ridley and some picks, or at least a pick. You know what I'm saying? Or, send a pick and get a couple picks back. Maybe we spend a second. We send a second with Kareem and Hooper, a next year second. And they send us, like a third and a fourth back, some shit like that. You know what I'm saying? With Calvin Ridley. Whatever the case, I think that's feasible. Because nobody wants to break up Chubb and Hunt. But we got to keep in perspective. We got Hunt so he can earn his way back into the league. And right now, for, whatever Kevin Stefanski's trying to brainstorm, if he loses Hunt right now, he can still keep Dearness Johnson, and he still has Felton, Demetric Felton. So it's not like we're losing in the running back room. But Nicholas Chubb is the guy on offense. There's no mystery about that. Having Hunt is a luxury. Unfortunately, this year we didn't take advantage of having that luxury for multiple years. His contract is going to be favorable. He still has a year, I think 2 years, a year in the player option or a year in the team option. I think it's 2 years left, whatever the case. Him with Matt Ryan, and people will be like, well, they got Hayden Hurst and they got Kyle Pitts. Why would they take Austin Hooper back? And that's feasible. Maybe they don't. But Kyle Pitts is a receiver. He big as a tight end, but he a receiver, bro. So, does it necessarily work against them? How will they handle it? I mean, I don't know. I'm just throwing things out there, all right? But adding Calvin Ridley to this receiver room, then doing something in the first round, like, you could take a Garrett Wilson, all right? I mean, ultimately, you will have the same issues that you had, though, because I think Calvin Ridley's only like 6'1", 6 feet, 6'1". Garrett Wilson's like 5'11", 6 feet. I mean, you do got Donovan Peoples-Jones, who's like 6'2". But, you may need another big receiver. Chris Olave is a little bigger. He's a little thinner. He's not as physical as a Garrett Wilson, but nonetheless, he is a little bigger. Body type wise. And he's a game breaker. Garrett Wilson and pairing him with Calvin Ridley would be outstanding. You know what I'm saying? Like that would be great. But like I say, they would still need some height.
We definitely need some height, man. Definitely need some height.
So this is where now this is how I look at it. This is a draft where the Browns can take multiple receivers, especially if they find a way to find a good defensive tackle in free agency. You know what I'm saying? Like if they could trade for a Ridley, it could be any other receiver. But I'm just being.
What the Browns picking? What they say, 13 or something like that?
They pick a 13th. We're not going to give him that pick for Ridley. It's just not going to happen. I can just tell you that's not going to happen. Now, they have a better chance getting the second round pick for Ridley. But even if we did a second round pick for Ridley, he would have to get something back. Ideally, the Browns will want to have to trade a lesser pick as possible, but they will have to lose the asset. It's only 2 assets on this offense that's still under contract that you could lose. And it don't hurt nothing. And that's Hunt and Hooper. You know what I'm saying? Because you got, like I say, a Dearness Johnson. You can re-sign Dearness Johnson. You still got Demetric Felton. Because you still got a David Njoku and a Harrison Bryant at the tight end. You're not losing. You're actually saving money. Now, Hunt contract ain't too crazy, but at the same token, at the end of next year, he's going to be looking for money. Nick Chubb, the number one guy, his contract kick in next year. You know, you could re-sign Johnson and give Johnson the same deal you just gave Hunt. And Johnson is younger. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, and, you know, you definitely got to look at the Hooper option because you're going to want to upgrade the passing targets. You know what I'm saying? The quality of the passing targets. David Njoku already want to stand. He's proven to be the best tight end in the room. He's a draft pick of yours. You definitely going to want to re-sign him. You know what I'm saying? Hooper expendable. You know, it's okay to say, you know what, it ain't work out. But I would rather try to get something for you than to lose you for nothing. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, they can bring in a Ridley, you know, and, you know, if you do get a Ridley, then you could say, okay, maybe I want to take a Jameson Williams or Drake London, which I ain't going to lie. I think Baker Mayfield and the Drake London cat lightweight a match made, to be honest. Like, you know, I personally, I like Justin Ross from Clemson. I think because they didn't have like a stellar quarterback play, you know, without Trevor Lawrence there, you know, that his stock dropped. He probably, you know, his combine gonna boost him back up. I'm pretty sure he probably end up like a 3rd or 4th round pick. But that's a guy, you know, you could bring in. You know what I'm saying? Like I say, the Browns could definitely take multiple receivers. It's not out of the realm of possibility. But Hunt I love Hunt. I wouldn't want to let him go. And I'm not saying that they should do it. But I'm just saying, if you had to ask yourself, I can get Calvin Ridley by trading Hunt, you can't tell me somebody not gonna do that trade, bro. I'm doing it. Especially, you know, I ain't even got a receiver. This is number 1 pick. You know what I'm saying? I already know he can get separation off the ball. He can run routes. He got good hands. You know what I'm saying? You know, and like I say, he only like 6 feet, 6'1". But you pair him with a 6'5" Drake London, you know, and now you got, you know, a Ridley and a. But see, even still though, as much as I like Ridley, you know, they would still need like an X factor guy, which is why I like Garrett Wilson. You know what I'm saying? Because Garrett Wilson can return kicks. You know what I'm saying? He could be a number 2. I'm not saying they could draft him to be a number 1. He has to be a number 2, in my opinion, to be the most effective. You know, Tyreek Hill type is just a little bigger. That's how I view Garrett Wilson. But that Drake London, though, for this division, for the running game we got, Drake London is an ideal match for this team, in my opinion. Like, that's ideal. You got the guy, Travelon Burks from Arkansas. That's a pretty big guy. He kind of give me that DK Metcalf feel. But that's a guy they could look at too. But undoubtedly, defensive run stopping D lineman in the middle, defensive tackle, and quality wide receiving targets has to be number 1 priority on this, on as far as acquisitions. As far as new acquisitions, that has to be the priority. Now, as far as retaining guys, you know, you still got Baker and Ward for a whole nother year. So it's not like we're going to lose. The other guys who are up got re-signed. Ward's going to get paid. I have no doubt about that. I feel like Jadeveon's going to get paid. You know, bruh, like I say, 4 years, $70 million, 30 guaranteed. You know what I'm saying? You know, if he stay healthy, he can hit a couple bonuses. If he get, you know, because he set the bar at 9. So you say if you can at least give me 7 sacks a year, 8 sacks a year, that's another bonus. You know, you instrumental in us winning the playoff game, making it to the playoffs. That's a bonus. Like you can add some quality incentives in there where he would be like, okay, cool. And you gave me 30. I got 10 last year. I got 8 up front, virtually. You know what I'm saying? All right. So now you come back. You feel me? You done basically quadrupled that in the 30 up front. Yeah, bruh. For like 4 seasons. You know what I'm saying? You can have a team option, a player option on that 4th season. You feel me? To where, you know, he get his money, get a nice chunk of his money in the first couple seasons or whatever the case. However the case, you gotta retain Jadeveon, bro. When you get a wingman for your star, you cannot let him go. All right. And Miles has that with Jadeveon. Like, they are a perfect match. Do not allow that to get broken up. There's a few other guys on this defense who could possibly not be back this year. So you got guys like Mac Wilson Sr., Sione Takitaki, MJ Stewart, Anthony Walker Jr., Ronnie Harrison Jr., who all contracts expire on this defense. And that's very interesting because if you could retain MJ Stewart, then you could let Ronnie Harrison walk because you have a Richard LeCounte and an AJ Green. It is very, very possible that Ronnie Harrison Jr. and MJ Stewart can both walk. But you have an AJ Green and a Richard LeCounte down there to still go with Dale Pitt, John, JJ3, Troy Hill, Denzel Ward, Greedy Williams, Greg Newsome. So you're not really falling off there. You know what I'm saying? If anything, if you did let those 2 guys go ahead and walk, you still have a nice secondary, and you could really just add legitimate special teams guys. You know, guys who can return, defensive backs that have return capabilities or, excel on special teams in college or just got that build, 3rd, 4th nickelback type guys, that could just specifically play special teams. And I think they will probably look at that route when it comes to the secondary. When it comes to the linebacking core, JOK is a for sure. Jacob Phillips has been showing that he can take over that role. So I think I don't know if it's Taki or I don't know if it's – now, I'm going to say this. Taki was a 3rd round pick. So Taki may have another year that he's still under contract. That's very possible. Mac Wilson was a 5th round pick. He definitely don't got. So it's possible they may not keep him at all. Unless they bring him back because he don't have a market to go somewhere. But somebody's going to go utilize Mac Wilson. The same way it happened with Schobert, the same way it happened with Kersey. It just happens. It is what it is. However, JOK and Jacob Phillips make this okay. Sione Takitaki is a very good run-stopping linebacker, a guy with blitz capability. So keeping him would not be a bad thing. And that would still give you at least 3 quality starters, JOK, Jacob Phillips, and Sione Takitaki to start with, but then it'll be about your backup guy. Will a Willie Harvey stay? Will a Tony Fields the second? He didn't really play a lot last year, but this could be the year he's in a major, rotational role. And then if you do that, like you say, that still leaves them room on this defense to really acquire guys specifically for situational and special teams. Because you need guys at linebacker who can play special teams, who can block a little bit, who can run down, and tackle the ball carrier, speed enough, strong enough, They may not have the technique to really be a quality starter, but they got the athletic abilities to where you can coach them up. And I believe that the Browns have enough of a nice culture right now to where guys are improving. Where guys are getting better from last year to this year. We could argue Baker. I know people say, but what about Baker? We could argue, but for the most part, guys are getting better. You're seeing it from off season to training camp to training camp. Guys physical getting better along with this. The eye test is looking better. And then like I said, we already talked about the defensive line. So, and it's like I say, as far as this offensive room go, you're gonna have some questions to answer on that offensive line, but I don't think it's as big of a deal. I don't want to lose a JC Tretter. At the same token, though, Batonio and Wyatt Teller are a lot more important. Conklin and Willis are still locked in. You have a Nick Harris down there. You have James Hudson III. You have a Blake Hance, Drew Forbes. You have guys who've been in your system who should get a lot better, who should be then got significantly better next year, to where if you have to lose a JC Tretter, you don't want to. But, it's one of those things where things happen. And plus, you got to make room to bring the right acquisitions in. I don't know who will want to come play with Baker. And that's really kind of one of those things that is a tipping point to what receivers will be cool with coming here. If I am mistaken, Calvin really was in college the same time Baker Mayfield was, if I am mistaken. So I wouldn't be shocked if they have some type of, can develop some type of chemistry. But if the Baker's the guy moving forward, and I'll elaborate more on because I did kind of let you that point earlier in the video from the front office quarterback position standpoint. But Baker needs tall targets. David Njoku is a tall target, so it's not that hard for Baker to get him the ball. But you need a receiver that's tall, as well as a few game breakers. If Kevin Stefanski is going to want to throw the ball a lot, he's going to have to. They're going to have to bring in some receiver talent. I don't expect Jarvis Landry to be re-signed. I don't think Jarvis Landry wants to stay anyway. Nobody wants to give up $15 million, bro, but Jarvis Landry going to go somewhere and get paid. Now, I have no doubt about that. You never want to see quality talent lead your team. This is why so many people are mad about Odell. I know Odell is not putting up spectacular stats, but he's impactful. Every play he makes is impactful, which is all he wants in the first place. He don't necessarily got to have 100-something yards every game. But if his 2-3 catches, 4-5 catches, it's 4-5 first downs, 3 first downs, 2 touchdowns, he is perfectly fine with that. Any receiver will when you winning, and you can win Super Bowls. You know what I'm saying? Because those are highlight plays. Those are the ones that pass you on the eye test. You know what I'm saying? And he's doing a lot of things, but he's not hurting the Rams. And he wasn't hurting the Browns. Regardless of what people would try to paint, he wasn't hurting the Browns. He just underutilized. Bottom line. Or not utilized properly. Illy utilized. Whatever word go there. The wide receiver room, which right now, virtually just consists of Donovan Peoples-Jones and Anthony Schwartz. Now, there are other guys, Higgins is a guy which I don't think he'll return. You got a Jamarcus Bradley down there and a couple other acquisitions that you got. But those guys aren't game changers. And for the type of quarterback that you're looking to go into the next season with, You're going to need. Hold on. You're going to need a game changer at receiver. You know, I mean, just think about it, man. Every passing game that's thriving got a few receivers. You know, it's not just one. You could argue it's just Devontae Adams and Green Bay, but he also has Aaron Rodgers. And when you got a quarterback, a receiver combo that's dynamic like that, um, it doesn't really matter what a defense does. You know, this is what you want for Baker, you know, or for any quarterback with the Browns. But this is what you want for Baker ultimately. You want him to have that one, at least one receiver where he got so much chemistry with, and it don't matter what the defense do. Like I say, you know, but that takes a mental part of the game. Not transitioning to the Baker and back to the quarterback position per se with the Browns. They have Baker under contract for one more year. They can franchise tagging for another following 2 years. In my opinion, it won't. There's not a standout right now from what I'm seeing. There's not a standout quarterback that I think is worth you drafting and dumping Baker for. It's a few possible, you know, acquisitions you can make via trade. But as far as just building from the ground up, this isn't the draft. Now, next year's draft, you know, when you have a few guys coming out, Spencer Rattler, Caleb Williams, you know, a few guys that I think, you know, who will really be nice. And then the year after that, you know, you will have a CJ Stroud, a Bryce Young, and those guys coming out. So, you know, this is a buffer year, in my opinion. And I think the Browns would be smart to use this offseason to fill in the gaps on everything around the quarterback and everywhere else on the team. And then that way they can come back next season and be in a position to say, okay, you know, we have a guy that now that we have a complete team outside the quarterback, we have a guy that we can target. And we can say, we're in a position to give you 2-3 first round draft picks, you know, for a guy who's going to game change our franchise because we have everything else not only here, but also locked in long term to where this quarterback will be playing with these guys for several seasons. That to me is the smartest thing they could do. You know, now if they do make any immediate moves, I'm gonna keep saying this, bro. I think Deshaun Watson is the acquisition. Now, we all got to see. February is around the corner. We're all going to get to see next month exactly what's unfolded in the case and how it really goes because we're all just reading transcripts and media and all that. And like I say, man, you know, look at me, bro. I don't have no reason to trust no public entity to put out the proper information the way it's supposed to be put out. I've been on this earth very long time, per se. And, you know, I've been here long enough to know that you got to get all the information first. People will, you know, misrepresent things for a certain perception. You know, sometimes the optics are way too glaring for you to ignore anything. And I do understand that. But, you know, timing is everything. And coincidences just don't happen on the common. You know, that's why they're coincidences. They just happen every once in a while or per se. But like I say, you know, on the surface, there's really no reason for the Browns to rush and try to move that position. Baker is going to get surgery. I'm pretty sure he'll be back and ready by the time training camp comes around. I'm pretty sure in his mind, he had already calculated if I play to the end of the season and we don't go to the playoffs, I could do this in this time, start rehab around March. By the time we get to, you know, August, you know, he'd have had, you know, 4, 5, 6 months, somewhere around that area, you know, to be then rehabbed and really got himself to a playable condition. Now, once again, the Browns ain't no fools, and they ain't been shown to be no fools with this regime. So it wouldn't be out of the realm to see them bring in a guy. Do I think Case Keenum can remain the backup? It depends. It depends on how realistic Coach Stefanski is with himself about the state of his offense, where it's really at, and the moves he really need to make to bring positive change immediately. In my opinion, he has to be less stubborn. I feel like he's being stubborn out of necessity more than want. I think a lot of us do not include the fact that this has been 2 pandemic seasons under their first 2 years. And even in that, they've won about 20 games in that span in 2 seasons. I don't remember another time except for in the 80s where a Browns team won a collection of 20 games in 2 seasons. That's virtually 10 wins a season, which is good. Better than what we used to. So, I do feel like, I've always been a believer that it takes a new coach and GM at least 4 years to get it right. Because you have to take the first year and evaluate what you have and how you can use it and where you need to change. Then you get years 2 and 3 to actually more refine your strategy while still, getting in the right personnel and weeding out the wrong personnel. Year 4 and 5 is where you should see significant results. So when coaches get fired after a year or 2 years, I don't really fault the coaches all the time. Not all the time. Majority of the time, I'm on the coach side because there's a lot of impatience with this front office and these ownerships. And it's understandable to a degree when you come to talk about large sums of money, this type of income and revenue. But what realistic options, what realistic changes can he make? I've already hit it on personnel as far as players and possibilities and types, prototypes. As far as the coach himself, I personally would like to see Alex Van Pelt call the plays. At the same token, when Alex Van Pelt was hired, his focus was to work on Baker's mechanics. And Baker's mechanics has not improved. So I could back the notion of, if you didn't do the first job all the way effectively, how can I increase your responsibilities? You know what I'm saying? And some people may not like that, but it's the reality. I hired you to do a specific job. If you're not excelling at that job, why would I give you more responsibilities? That it makes no sense. And bottom line is, Baker mechanics have improved, but they're not where they need to be for him to be consistently making good decisions and quality throws, game in, game out, play in, play out. So, you definitely give Alex Van Pelt another year with Baker to see how it goes. If it don't work out, I wouldn't be surprised if, they move on from Alex Van Pelt as well with Baker Mayfield, or B, they bring in a guy who they feel like is more workable because maybe Baker was just a little hard to work with. Maybe they can bring in a guy that is actually going to take the tutelage and use it to excel. And, so again, it still gives these guys like 4 years. As much scrutiny as Joe Woods was under, Joe Woods does not deserve to be under fire no more. this defense was significantly better than last year, and had this offense back this defense up, we'd be talking about a Super Bowl run because the defense played that well. So I would just challenge Mr. Berry in that front office to keep as much of these players together as possible, and build off that, because you really have something there with that defense and what it can become with the pieces you have locked in for as long as you do. The play calling, man, listen, it's always dictated by the talent, bro. All right? As much as the coaches call the plays, the quarterbacks run the show. So if you can't be a coach on the field, it's hard for a quarterback's coach or any play caller to put a lot of faith in. It's just hard. You know what I'm saying? So, before we get to re-criticizing the play calling, I would encourage people to just see what type of acquisitions are made to help make the offense a little more better. What else can we do? You know what I'm saying? Now, we can talk about a lot of prospects that people like, the way things. Oh, before we get off of here, though, for those who might have came in late, I'm DeeTrynt. This is Game Changer Sports Talk, InDaStreetzSportz. Subscribe, like, follow. You can catch these episodes streaming on Spotify, Google Podcasts, Radio Public, and various other streaming platforms, Anchor as well. So I definitely would encourage y'all to go check those out, follow, subscribe, give your feedback and things like that. But the playoffs are underway. We are moving on to the next round. Green Bay had a bye in the NFC. The Titans had a bye in the AFC. The Titans look like not only will they be getting Derrick Henry back, but I think A.J. Brown and Julio Jones coming back. I ain't sure, but I think they coming back with a full squad, and that's gonna be a problem. Keeping it on with the AFC, I believe the Chiefs are number 2. So the Chiefs, let me see, it's the Chiefs, the Titans, the Bills, and who left? Chiefs, Titans, Bills. Let me go over here. Let me, because I'll be doing this stuff a lot off the top of my head, man. Let me go over here on my fact checker right quick. You know what I'm saying? And really bring this into light. All right. So, Bengals. How I forget the Bengals? All right. So, Bengals, Titans on Saturday. Bills, Chiefs on Sunday. Okay. Titans, Bengals. I'm here to tell you that the only subpar matchup possibly on this round of NFL playoffs, divisional round, is the 49ers and Packers. But the 49ers defense is so good, they could make a game of it. But Aaron Rodgers is so dynamic, this could be a blowout. So those one of those games. It could come down to the wire, but I don't think anybody foresees the 49ers beating the Packers. The Packers are Vegas odds that they're a 6-point spread. They can significantly blow that out the water. It depends on how the offense plays for the 49ers. This Bengals-Titans game, though, bruh, listen. Bruh, this could be the game of the playoffs. I'm going to just tell you that right now. This could literally be the game of the playoffs, bro. I don't see it saying Derrick Henry is going to play. I've been getting reports that he's probably going to play, but I don't know for sure. Let me see if I can find something out right quick while we here.
And Natty gonna turn up anyway.
Listen,
Natty about to turn up, man.
The Natty boy, them boys.
Oh yeah, I already dropped the bag on them to win it all.
Oh, you said for them to win it all?
I dropped the bag on them, and who else did I drop it on? AZ already out because they had low odds. You know, I'll be going with whoever got the low odds. I ain't bet on the Bills because, you know, the Bills up there. You know what I'm saying? I wouldn't go win no money. You know, I be trying to flip that high five. turn that high five to 500. Turn that high $5 $1,500. I bet on the Cavs to win it all earlier. I bet on the Cavs to win these.
With these Titans and Bengals, man, this game is going to come down to quarterback play, bro. I mean,
that Ohio boy got backed up.
Like the Titans got a nice defense, the Bengals got a nice defense. They both have receiving options.
Hold on, they playing in Tennessee?
Yeah, they playing in Tennessee.
So it's good weather.
I'm trying to figure out what's Derrick Henry's status for the game.
I don't think he playing. I've been seeing
they still got him listed on injury reserve, but I looked at this. They got fucking no. He practicing.
I've been seeing his face on like the little game.
12 minutes ago. Okay, look, Tennessee Titans running back Derrick Henry took another step toward being activated before their NFL divisional playoff matchup against the Cincinnati Bengals on Saturday. The team held a padded practice Tuesday and some of the defensive players banging into Henry as he went through drills during the individual period of practice with the running backs. Coach Mike Vrabel said they wanted to replicate some of the things that Henry would be asked to do if he played in the game. Henry was placed on injured reserve November 1st because of a fractured foot he suffered. Okay, yeah. And it was just a fractured foot, too. So, like I say, Derrick Henry might play. Bro, and everything tell me, bro, if he feel good, he gonna play. This probably gonna be the game of the week, bro. Don't get me wrong. The Rams and Bucks game could be one of those games. The Bills Chiefs games could be one of those games. But I think the hungry young bloods, man. Ryan had Tannehill got something to prove. He not solidified. Joe Burrow is up and coming. He wanted to let him know that he ain't just, a second-year quarterback. He top tier. Matthew Stafford is trying to put his legacy up against the GOAT. He ain't the GOAT to me, but they call him the GOAT. So I just, for the sake of argument, right now, I say that. Peyton my GOAT. I don't care what nobody say. But then you got Bills Chiefs, Allen versus Mahomes. The Chiefs are fucked.
Bills win. And you already know Niners and Green Bay, they always fire. I hope Niners send them home, man. Niners send them home.
I ain't gonna lie. I would like to see Rodgers versus Mahomes for the ship, personally. But
I mean, the Chiefs.
I'm all for Bills Rams. I'm all for Bills Rams. I'm all for Bengals Rams.
Oh yeah, I love them Bills.
But I think it's gonna be the Packers and the Chiefs. To be honest, if I'm making my predictions on these games, the Bengals Tennessee is favored by 3.5 points. Look, I'm gonna be real with you. The Titans in a bad spot. But everything in me tell me they're gonna come out and play with a lot of heart, a lot of fire and desire. with that being said, if Derrick Henry plays and he cannot be impactful, the Bengals could run away with this bitch. I expect this to be a good game all up until a certain quarter. I don't know if it's going to be the second quarter that shit get out of hand, or it's going to be the third going into the fourth where it get out of hand. But somewhere in there, this game going to get out of hand. This game going to be up and down. If we going over under, I'm definitely going over 50 in this game. I think a final score will probably end up something like 34-31. And listen, bro, I'm going to pick the Bengals too. I ain't going to even hold you. I'm going to take the Bengals 34-31 over the Titans.
Shout out to the Nasty Natty.
You know what I'm saying? That's where I'm at with it. As far as this Packers 49ers game, I just think this game probably going to get out of hand. I'm going to give this game a 38-24 type of game. I got the Packers taking that one. Bucks game is going to be very defensive heavy. I don't see this being no type of shootout. And I'm going to take the Rams in this one 20-17. Bills Chiefs. I ain't going to even lie to y'all, bruh. This might be a shootout. This just seems like, for how both of these teams playing, this just seems like the type of game where it really don't matter what the defense does on either side. Both of these quarterbacks gonna show up to play. Like I say, even though I picked the Bengals and Titans will probably be the game of the week. I think this Bills Chiefs game gonna be a shootout. I'm gonna go 41-38 in overtime to the Bills. So that give us Rams, Packers, Bengals, Bills for each respective conference championship, and I'm gonna I'm gonna go Bills Packers. I know even though I said earlier I said Packers Chiefs is what I would like to see. What I probably think breaking it down. I'm gonna go Bills Packers in the championship. Two cold teams. Bills last time they went to the Super Bowl, they was on a 4 Super Bowl losing streak. They ain't recovered from yet. Aaron Rodgers trying to put the cherry on top to what will probably end up being an MVP season. And that'll probably be a dogfight because that's probably the best matchup you can get. That's it. I'm going Bills Packers, man. That's my final prediction. Bills Packers for the championship. So, for all those that stayed on and been here throughout the whole stream, I appreciate it. For those that missed it, only caught bits and pieces. It's still the middle of the week. Everybody got work, things to do like that. So I appreciate you coming in and tuning in. But like I say, I'm DeeTrynt. This is Game Changer Sports Talk in the Street Sports. You can follow us on all social media platforms, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, at the names you see on the screen. Like I say, you can catch us on Spotify, Google Podcasts, Radio Public. Definitely stay in tune. We'll be starting to do more interviews. We'll start off some raffles and giveaways and things like that. All that stuff coming up in 2022. So thank you all for tuning in. Appreciate all the views, all the follows, all the feedbacks, likes, dislikes. It's all welcome. All right. DeeTrynt, Game Changer Sports Talk, in the Street Sports. We'll holler at y'all later. Yeah.
Yes, sir. That was straight.
Yeah.
That was straight.